Well, happy 4th of July, everybody. Another year. Well, enjoy the fireworks. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Another episode of Bitcoin Trade. I hope everyone enjoyed their 4th of July weekend. Anyways, a lot of things has happened. I know it's been a while since I did my last video, but I've been kind of busy. A lot of trading, traveling, whatnot. So, anyways, let's go on to some things here. Let's go on to the 12-hour here. I look at a 1 hour because I want to see it's been moving quite a bit, and so I want to see the movements in more detail. But typically when I do my chart analysis, it's based off the 12-hour chart. And if you look, you'll see this is the low, this is the high on a I don't know, April all the way to April 26th to June 28th. So April 26th to June 28th, that's the time frame. And this is usually the view I like, but you can see that things have turned around here where it's starting to go up. The price action, you know, low price, high price. Price is going this way, it's going up. So, but to get a better idea, I think we have to go to a day and change the view to this, pull back a little bit more so the candlesticks are a little smaller. And you can see that this right here is the very long downtrend here, in which it slightly broke out, came back down here, and now you can see it's kind of just slowly just moving along, and it's a very low. It's very low as far as the trend going this way, but compared to what's been happening, a little sideways action, a little bit of rise in the price. I think it's a wonderful relief because it's definitely broken out. I wouldn't say broken out, but it's definitely moved out of this very long downtrend. There's no long-term downtrend that I could see now, so it seems to have broken free of that trend line, and you can see it's just gradually growing. And I know a lot of people are excited about this big bump in price here, but if you look at it, I mean, it's not that big. You can see some of the other movements in price here are much larger than what's happened here or here. Now, there's been a lot of speculation for why that movement in price, and I want to kind of go into it a little bit more. And so this is the normal view I see on 12 hours, and from where it was to where it is, it's gone up, and it looks really good because it's, you know, it's moved up, it's broken above this high, and then it's dipped down and moved up again, it's broken above this high, and you can see it seems to want to keep going. The momentum is still there. It's crossed over here, and you can see the two weighted averages here, and they've moved upwards. They're moving up. So on those indications, if you feel like you missed out, you still haven't, because if you pull back, you'll realize these are small um, compared to the movement in price from a year ago. This is not a very large movement, as some people may already know, but it's been hyped out a lot. Um, Now, why these movement in prices, I can't really say for sure. I can't point at an event. I was anticipating an upward trend anyway, because I felt once it's gone past that trend line, that long-term downtrend line, um, it's how can I say, the sellers exhaust themselves to the point where you can't push down the price anymore, because there's just forces out there that won't. Oh, let me rephrase that. The demand of the use of Bitcoin is outpacing the demand of any other type of money out there, or any other type of asset. So, in general, anyway. So that's why you see the rise in price. Why is it rising? And the coincidence of the Greek situation in Greece, as I don't know if you've heard, but apparently there's capital controls where people can't make run on the bank. Seems like they can't do anything. Now, the question is, are the Greeks buying Bitcoin? I've read a lot of reports where they're saying, one saying yes, the other one saying no. I do think one thing is for sure is that there's definitely confirmed data out there that Europe as a whole has increased in purchasing Bitcoin. Now, that I can believe, because if it's not the Greece, then it may be other places in Europe where I think they're watching Greece, they're seeing what's happening, and a lot of people are, I guess, preparing for something like that, because that's something that could happen. Another thing I've read was the website Backpage, very similar to Craigslist, has now been shut out by MasterCard, Visa, and any banking account that they have. So there's some potential for these web sites to take on Bitcoin, which would be interesting, because I find it interesting that there's these financial institutions that for whatever reasons will shut you down. But just because I think a financial institution shuts you down doesn't mean that the demand of whatever is being offered by this website is going to go down, right? It's there, it's always been there, and it will continue to be there. So trying to choke off a service or goods or whatever by not offering financial services doesn't necessarily always equate to a reduction or less of a demand in whatever that website offers. it's just going to drive it to another market, like Bitcoin. I think before, when there was no Bitcoin or anything like Bitcoin, it was very easy to do these things. Just close your account, don't do business with you, whatever. But now that Bitcoin has come into creation and exist today and now, people have a choice in what they want to do. So my point in that whole thing was, I guess there's a saying where, you don't cut your nose off to spite your own face, So I think this is very similar, where all these other institutions, financial institution, MasterCard, Visa, whatever, other banks, whether they're coerced or pushed into that direction, or maybe even bribed. I mean, doesn't always necessarily mean anything anymore, because now that Bitcoins have come into creation and they exist now, it seems like you're just driving people into Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, which, well, that just may have to be. What's another one? Well, I think those are some examples where, if you are using Bitcoin, you don't have to worry about necessarily a bank account getting closed. You can still transact. It's a little bit more, harder, because the infrastructure is not there as far as Bitcoin use. It's really a grassroots, ground up kind of situation right now, with Bitcoin, like trading Bitcoin without bank accounts or anything like that. Cash transactions and stuff like that. It's there. It's out there. It's totally decentralized. It's autonomous, and of course, no one controls it. But it's very loose, unorganized, which would be the point of being decentralized. But I'm just waiting for the day where you can have organized decentralization, if that makes any sense. It's characteristics of the benefits of a centralized system, but it's not centralized, and also has the benefits of a decentralized system. So as you can, basically, a system that's decentralized but has the benefits of a centralized system. Is it possible? Yes. But it takes a lot more work than a centralized system, because you're working with many parts, many players. But I think it's possible to work something out, and the infrastructure will eventually be built, because how can I say this? The infrastructure of Bitcoin will be built, not because Bitcoin or anybody wants to do that. I think a lot of people like the way things are right now, but I think the infrastructure for Bitcoins will be built because the forces against Bitcoin, right, will push it that way. So the institutions of people that don't want you to bank with them, don't want you to use their service, or another way of saying is they're protecting you. So they're going to close your account and all this other garbage. Uh, that's forcing the infrastructure to be built for Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. It's forcing it. People don't want to really do things unless they have to. And the more, you force people into that scenario, when I say you, I'm talking about, whatever force out there, that whatever industry or group of people or whoever don't like what you're doing and don't want to do business with you, well, they're essentially are forcing the infrastructure of Bitcoin to be built. And once it gets built, I mean, there's no coming back. They kind of just shot themselves in the foot for doing these things. So you're going to probably see the future of Bitcoin coming to realization. The infrastructure being built, and then all the services around that infrastructure being built to the point where, a bank account is nothing more than an option at that point. Or it just may be something you have, but you barely use it because you don't really need to use it, but it's just there, just in case you need to do something with it. And eventually I think time will phase that out where, the concept of a traditional bank or a merchant processor is different than what it is now. So, anyways, back to the other thing about Greece. I think there's a lot of Europeans who are looking at Greece and they're in a similar boat or somewhat of a similar situation. They've taken some bailout money. Maybe they're doing good now, maybe they're not doing good now. Anyways, they're probably looking at Greece because if Greece falls, if Greece leaves the euro or whatever, I think it's going to have a domino effect. I'm thinking of places like Italy, Spain, maybe France. It'll start. I kind of see those countries. Probably Germany's. A lot of Germans are probably scared because if Greece falls, that's going to really affect Germany. They'll take the hit. Well, I don't know if they'll take the hit. Those creditors don't like taking hits. They like giving hits, but they don't take hits. So, anyways, there's probably a lot of people in Europe looking more into Bitcoin because they're just trying to prepare themselves because that could happen to them. They could just one day wake up and realize their bank account is frozen. Now, well, not frozen like frozen, but basically they can't get cash. They could only get a certain amount of money every day. They can't wire funds out, can't wire funds in, just stuff like that. Something that I have experience with that has happened to me. I've had accounts frozen, I've closed, and all this other nonsense. So it's nothing new to someone who's using Bitcoin. But I think this is going to be very new. This is a whole new thing for people who use traditional finance, traditional banks, that they can't have their money. They can't have access to their money. They're afraid of losing, value, their life's savings, their life's work. All the things that someone thought that they should be doing, but they just got shafted. They got screwed over. Um, so yeah, I think a lot of people in Europe um, may be getting more into Bitcoin, but I don't know about people in Greece specifically. So, anyways, let's go into a quick chart analysis here at the end here. Let me see what I got here. Um, I From what I see, there's nothing indicating to me that the price will be going down. Um, from what I could tell, it's kind of on a very slow beginning uptrend. Price is going back up. See, if you look at that, just price going up. And one of the things I've been doing now is I've been more or less holding what I have, or trying to maintain the amount of Bitcoins I have, because in this scenario I just have to wait and the value goes up. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And so there's a couple things I've been doing. Of course, I've been holding on to my gains in Bitcoin, and then I'm still buying and selling, of course, on the short-term gain. On a short term, I'm always trading in and out and in, etc., trying to make a gain. Depends on what it is, on the situation. Right now, I've already gotten all the Bitcoins that I'm comfortable with, and so I'm okay with that. I gain a little bit in Bitcoin where I think I can enjoy a nice bounce off of. Basically, I'm buying on the dips, so buying around here, or keeping your gains in Bitcoin here. Like if you sold out here and then the price went down, you could rebuy back in and have more Bitcoin than if you bought Bitcoin up here, and then let it rise again, and then let it come down, buy on the dip, and hopefully this will continue to keep going up, breaking 270 up to a higher amount. I have to pull back now just to do that. Okay, so those are the two little highs. I'm just pulling back, so candlesticks are a little smaller. So 270, if you look here, it's already broken this line right here. You see that, right? This line right here. So it's the next step could be this one right here, which is priced at 274, which I think is going to definitely break 270. Ultimately, I'm looking at this one right here. This is really going to see if this trend is really going to go up, or it's going to be a range. In other words, it's going to go up, hit around 300, and then come back down again to like 220. So if it goes up here, a couple scenarios is that it's just going to break on through and keep going up, or it'll just hit here, go back down, or it'll just hit here, play around, range back and forth up before it breaks up. I don't really see a scenario where it's going down, because as you see from the 1 day that I pulled up, that the trend is there's nothing. There's not nothing, but the chance of this going down now seems less likely than it was before, because it's kind of gone sideways out of the trend, which is good, and it seems like it's making advances going up. So if this can go beyond the 300 mark and show sustaining, up and down above 300, I think that's a really good sign. And as it goes up, you can play into the momentum going up, just buying into and keep buying in, let it just keep going up for the most part, ride that momentum. Where would it stop if it was going to stop? Let me see here. There's a good chance that I'll have to go onto the daily to get an idea where it might stop. So, excuse me. Okay, so right here, so you got a couple things here as I see on this larger chart here. You got this, all these levels here, and this. So there's that 300 mark. I think it'll hit up to the 300 mark. It may bounce down or play around, but if it goes up after the 300, this right here, that mark right here, which is around 500, will be the next mark. It may bounce around in between if it stays above 300, but ultimately the barrier is going to be this thing right here, which, let me see, how much is that? Somewhere around there, 467 or something. And if you look at this, you'll see that this and this kind of correlates together, and you'll see that if you follow this, this is where it broke down and started falling right here. So this is probably the next potential target if it hits above 300. It'll go right up here, and then after that, I don't know. We'll just have to see. Anyways, I guess it's gonna cut this in this episode here. Feel free to, well, let's take a look at the also on the prices here. And in your last episode, BitC was higher than all these other exchanges. Now you see that's flipped around. Bitfin, looks like Bitfin right now is the highest, and then Bitstamp and Boo is a little bit lower, and BitC is the lowest. So things have definitely normalized, which is kind of weird. But we'll see what happens. So everything's kind of, I guess, back to normal. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed this episode. Hopefully it helped you out, and feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment, even a video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye.